So what is up, you guys? It is your boy Brett Bickers here, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bears and what they are doing during the offseason. Um, Chicago Bears are in a very interesting point in this free agency. I wanted to talk about this team because this team had it's been very interesting for Chicago Bears fans, but yeah, I wanted to say that. They did end up going to sign TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, which I think was very necessary because, well, their front seven is god awful, and I think we can all agree with that. And the departure of Roquan Smith did not help. So they're kind of like making that wound much more healable. So, yeah. And now I'm assuming. And then they also traded away the number one overall pick. Which to me, as like a player that, as a person that has seen a lot of trades in the past, they could probably hold on to the pick a little bit longer and maybe got more assets for it. But I honestly understand they're just getting more lottery tickets than an actually good receiver, which I thought was very understandable. Because you don't really have any good receivers outside of kind of maybe Rondell Mooney, which is not filled for the number one spot. So I understand why they had to want to go and get DJ Moore. And obviously, again, Justin Fields is a guy who's just been running around with no receivers. But what's been interesting is what is their focus in the draft? Because their needs are maybe getting another corner, defensive line is very necessary. Their O line is also necessary, and yeah, so it's very interesting to see what the Bears are going to use with all of these assets that they got. Now, obviously, I really do see them going with player maybe like Miles Murphy or Tariq Wilson or Brian Brzee if they're available at the number 9 spot. But what they could also do is trade up in the draft. I mean, again, they have a lot of assets. They have 1 first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, 2 first-round picks next year. Like, they have a lot of assets with because of the Panthers and also Roquan Smith trades. But yeah, and they even have 2-6 because of the Khalil Mack trade. No one actually noticed, but yeah. But again, it's very interesting to see what they are planning to do during this season and what they are going to do. But what I think they should do is indeed address the defensive line with the number 9 pick. This is a deep pass rush class. Again, there are a ton of players that can really go into the top 10, like Will Anderson Jr., Miles Murphy, Tariq Wilson, Lucas Van Ness, Nolan Smith. 5 players that are arbitrarily interesting to pick at the number 5, at the number 9 spot. I don't know why I picked the 5, but this is probably because I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan, but yeah, it's interesting to see what they are going to truly do with the 9 pick, but I would recommend them to probably go with pass rusher here. Just in my personal opinion. But yeah. It's particularly interesting to see what the Bears are going to do during the in the draft with all the other needs. I think what they are going to be using with their second round picks, at least one of them, is wide receiver. Now this is supposed to be not it's probably going to be one of the more weaker wide receiver classes. It's kind of like the QB class of last year. But there are some good receivers for sure. Jack Smith-Njigba, Jordan Addison, and Quentin Johnson. I would be surprised if the Bears are even trying to trade up to the first round again to go get one of these receivers. I think it isn't a terrible move for them to just do that. Because, well, they really do need, after all, wide receiver help. And I think it makes sense to do that. Because, well, they're kind of also taking the advantage of, the Packers progressing, obviously, because of, they're going to probably trade Aaron Rodgers, let's face that. And Vikings are not going to be that good. I understand the Lions are, and to me, the Lions are the team to beat in the NFC North at this point right now, just in my opinion. But the Bears, there might be a sleeper team this year. I think this is going to be a sleeper team. But I do think what they should be addressing is indeed the defensive line with the 9 pick. Then their second round picks, they could go address on wide receiver and an offensive line. I really do think they should at least draft 2 defensive linemen, at least in the draft before day 3. And obviously address at least 1 offensive lineman and wide receiver before day 3. Because they don't really have any receivers and stuff. Because we all know that Justin Fields is indeed the guy. He may not be the best thrower, but he's definitely one of the best runners in the league in terms of a quarterback. Which, obviously, I really do love the idea of not holding on to the number 1 overall pick and going to get a quarterback. Because they're kind of like just throwing in a little Josh Rosen. Like, they traded up, they gone and got him, and they wanted to trade him, and stuff like that. I don't want them to do a Josh Rosen. I really don't. It seems like they are going to move up along with Matt Eberflus, which I can understand because after all, they did indeed beat the fucking Patriots. But it is relatively interesting to see what they could do in the offseason. But anyways, hope you guys enjoy.